They called me defective. Said my wolf was broken. But last night I heard her howl, and she didn't sound broken. She sounded furious. If you've ever been underestimated, if your silence was mistaken for weakness, hit subscribe. Because this isn't a story about perfection. It's about the girl who smelled wrong in a world ruled by scent, and the alpha who almost killed her before he realized she was his fate. If you believe fate can be cruel, hit subscribe, because this story howls back. Chapter 1. My name's Lena Cross, 24, nail technician by day, disappointment by night, born into the prestigious Silvervale pack, known for bloodlines so pure they practically glowed under moonlight. And then there was me, the scentless girl. I didn't smell like wolf, didn't shift, didn't howl, didn't belong. My mother used to whisper that I was just a late bloomer. The pack elders called me a human mistake. When I turned 18 and still couldn't shift, my father signed a transfer request, like I was a defective appliance. So here I am now, living in the human city, pretending to be normal. My shop, Luna Nails, smells like acetone, lavender oil, and denial. I've got bills to pay, glitter to apply, and clients who think wolf packs are just fantasy novels. Nothing humbles a girl like realizing her scent's so non-existent that even stray dogs ignore her. Most days I can almost forget what I am, or what I'm not. But that illusion cracked last night, when the power went out mid-appointment, and I caught something in the reflection of the glass door. Eyes, glowing, watching me. The city's been buzzing about rogue attacks for weeks, shifters gone feral, packs disappearing into the woods. I never thought it'd reach my street, until it did. The first crash shattered the salon's window. The second hit was the door. Then I saw claws. "Get back!" I shouted at my client, heart in my throat. I grabbed the only weapon I had, a metal nail file, and stood like some discount action heroine. The rogue lunged. Its eyes were wild, unfocused, red-rimmed from moon madness. Something inside me snapped, like a dam bursting in my chest. I screamed, or maybe it was something deeper. The sound wasn't human. It rolled out of me like thunder. And for the first time in my life, my wolf answered. I didn't shift, not fully. But my nails turned black and sharp. My heartbeat synced with a growl that wasn't mine alone. And when I looked up, the rogue hesitated. That hesitation saved me, because that's when the door exploded inward, and he walked in. Leather jacket, combat boots, silver eyes glowing like moonlight on a blade. "Get behind me," he ordered, voice gravel and authority. Every instinct screamed alpha. I should have obeyed. Instead, I growled. At him. Yeah, at the 6'4" mountain of dominance who just ripped a rogue in half like it was Tuesday. He froze. The world froze. His head turned slowly toward me, nostrils flaring, and the words that left his mouth changed everything. "You smell like me." Chapter 2. I woke to antiseptic light and the quiet threat of wolves breathing. Not panting, not huffing. Breathing, controlled, paced, like every inhale had been trained by a drill sergeant with fangs. Fluorescence hummed above me. My wrists were wrapped in gauze that smelled faintly of silver. An IV line bit the back of my hand, and a heart monitor beeped, judging me for having feelings. "Don't move," a woman's voice said. Smooth, professional. The kind you trust right up until she stabs you with a needle. She stepped into view, brown skin, sharp cheekbones, steel gray hair pulled tight, a lab coat with an embroidered crest, Ashmark Medical, and a pin that said Dr. Seraphine Vale. "You sedated me," I croaked. "Lightly." She adjusted my drip. "You stopped a rogue with your voice, then tried to bite my alpha. I made an executive decision. Executive decisions should come with a snack." Her mouth twitched. "You'll live." I took stock. Medical bay, concrete and glass. Veripack HQ meets Apple Store. Behind the glass wall, shadows shifted. Sentinels, wolves. One of them turned. Silver eyes flashed. Him. The man from my salon. The alpha who stepped through flying glass like a commercial for expensive cologne and poor life choices. He stood with his hands folded behind his back, speaking to a broad-shouldered second-in-command who radiated beta energy. Calm, lethal, the kind you only notice when the room goes still. Dr. Vale followed my gaze. That's Darius Hale. Of course his name is Darius. Of course he looks like he's been in a knife fight with destiny and won. He met my eyes through the glass, and something in my chest pulled, like a magnet scraping across old bone. The scentless girl feeling a scent that wasn't on her skin but under it. My monitor went from judgy to rude. Beep, beep, beep. Breathe, Dr. Vale warned. I am. Badly, Darius said something I couldn't hear, then keyed the door. The room shifted to accommodate him, the way rooms do with hurricanes and kings. He stopped 2 steps from my bed. Name. Rude. One eyebrow lifted a fraction. Name. Lena Cross, I said, because sometimes survival is just knowing when to sass and when to spell your last name. Age. 24. Do I get a lollipop? His jaw flexed. Occupation. Nail artist. Professional disappointment. Scentless freak. Pick your favorite something flickered behind his eyes. Not pity. Calculation, maybe. He glanced back at the beta. Logan. Record. Lena Cross, 24, civilian, Silver Veil by birth, living human side. The beta, Logan, tapped notes into a slate. Got it. Darius faced me again. The air changed. Wolves do that. Their presence bends the room. You were attacked by a rogue in your place of work. Yes. You repelled it. Accidentally. You growled at me. In my defense, you burst through my door like a tax audit. The beta choked on a laugh and turned it into a cough. Darius didn't blink. Do you know what you are? A disappointment with good cuticle care? You're a wolf. No, I'm a what if. As in, what if you never shift and your entire pack treats you like a broken toy? His gaze didn't waver. You're a wolf, he repeated, lower, like the words were a key. And you're... He cut himself off, breath catching, nostrils flaring like he'd hit a wall only he could see. That now familiar pull lit my ribs again. Painful, electric, hungry. Mate, something in me whispered. I'm what? I asked, even though I felt the answer in my blood. He stepped back, shutters slamming down behind his eyes. A security risk. There it was. The denial. It burned worse than the silver gauze. I forced a laugh I didn't feel. Right. Because nothing says spy like a girl whose greatest weapon is a nail file. Logan cleared his throat. Alpha... Hold, Darius said without looking away from me. His voice softened by half a degree. We're at war, Lena. Rogues are coordinated. Packs are going dark. And you... His jaw tightened. You smell human to everyone else. To me, you smell like... Trouble? I offered. He didn't smile. Fate. The monitor betrayed me again. Frantic beeps, mortifying and loud. Dr. Vale reached past me and smacked the machine like a television from the 90s. It steadied. Medically speaking, she said dryly, her vitals spike when you speak. I have a hypothesis I'd love to test without the two of you trying to outstare death. Logan's mouth did that near laugh again. Doc, you want me to step out? I want you to bring me the scent panel, Dr. Vale snapped, and the silver thread cuffs. Cuffs? I repeated sharp. Is this a hospital or a kink club? It's a pack clinic, she said, unamused. We use silver thread restraints when a patient might surge unexpectedly. You've been suppressed for years. If your wolf pushes through again, I prefer my equipment intact. Darius watched me with that too still alpha patience. We won't hurt you. Debatable. If I meant you harm, he said, voice like a closing door, you would know. Not comforting. Logan returned with a sleek case. Dr. Vale snapped it open to reveal 5 clear vials and a slender wand. Baseline first. She swabbed my wrist, then held the wand beneath my palm. It chimed soft, green, human, of course. Then she held the wand near Darius. Another chime. Wolf. Alpha classification flickered across a tiny screen. Now together, she said, sliding the wand across air between us. The device shrieked. The display glitched, symbols jittering until it settled on something I'd never seen. Bond variable detected. Logan leaned in. Doc? Dr. Vale's scientific composure cracked for half a heartbeat. Her eyes cut to Darius. She's imprinting on your scent signature, and you on hers. But hers is suppressed, masked by a human marker. She looked back at me. Lena, have you ever been dosed? Dosed? With scent inhibitors. Pills, patches, injections? No, I said, and then hesitated. Unless my parents used to make me drink this bitter tea. Said it soothed my nerves. Dr. Vale's face shuddered. Hawthorn and crushed ash bark. Old-fashioned suppressant, effective. Illegal heat rushed my cheeks. They wanted me normal. Darius's hands curled into fists, knuckles white. Who gave it to you? My mother. Sometimes the pack healer I swallowed splinters. They said it was gentler than letting me hope. The room said nothing. Sometimes silence is the loudest thing. Darius broke it first. Logan. Flag Silvervale. We're opening a formal inquiry. Logan's eyebrows went up. That's going to light a fuse. It already is lit, Darius said. He turned to me. Lena, the rogues aren't random. Something is driving them. Whoever did this to you, masking your scent, suppressing your shift, either made you a target or a tool. Great, I muttered. I've always wanted to be versatile. He looked like he wanted to smile. He didn't. Dr. Vale fastened the silver thread cuffs to the bed rails. They were delicate, not prison grade, more like jewelry with a grudge. Cool tingles pressed my skin, a warning without pain. Temporary, she said. If your wolf surges, it'll keep you from shredding IVS or my face. I would never shred your face, I said, horrified. You'd be surprised what wolves shred when they wake up. Darius's gaze flicked to the glass wall. On the other side, a few pack members pretended not to watch. We need to move her. To where? I asked. Safe house. That sounds like a place you take people right before something unsafe happens. Logan huffed. She's funny. She's terrified, Dr. Vale said, a warning blade hidden in care. And she's just learned her entire life was chemically muted. Show some humanity. Wolves, I corrected, because spite is my love language. Darius opened the door, and the scent of him lunged, storm-slick pine and something iron-sweet beneath. It hit me like a memory I'd never lived. My mouth went dry. He froze again, and for a breath the world narrowed to the single line of air between us. Mate. The whisper inside me insisted, louder now, mine. He tore his gaze away first. We don't claim, he said, so soft I might have imagined it. Not in wartime. Convenient. I lifted my cuffed hands. I also don't claim men who kidnap me. Rescue, Logan corrected. Tomato, tomato. Darius leaned in, close enough that the tiny spark on my tongue ignited into a low, dangerous warmth. Listen carefully, Lena. I don't know why I can smell you when no one else can. I don't know who suppressed your wolf, but I know this. The rogues that hit your shop were aiming for you. If I leave you alone, you die. Your bedside manner is tragic. I don't have a bedside, he said. I have a war board. Sexy. Something like pain flashed in his eyes. He straightened, shutters slamming down again. Logan, 2 sentinels, unmarked SUV. We leave in 10, Logan nodded and left. Dr. Vale removed my IV. You may feel more, she warned. In the next 24 hours, surges, flashes. Your wolf will test the bars. Neat, I said faintly. Love a personal growth moment. She squeezed my shoulder, gentle, human. You're not broken. You were broken open. When she stepped aside, I swung my legs off the bed. They held, barely. Darius watched, hands loose at his sides, an alpha pretending not to hover. I noticed the smudge on his jaw, dried blood, and the rip through his leather jacket where the rogue's claw caught him. Instinct, mine, hers, rose like a tide. I reached out before I could stop myself. "Don't," he said, too late. My fingers brushed his skin. Nothing dramatic happened. No fireworks. Just a soft click behind my sternum, like a lock learning the shape of its key. His eyes darkened. He stepped back. I lowered my hand like I'd touched a live wire. "Right," I said, voice too bright. 7 minutes, unmarked SUV, abduction with a side of destiny. Can I at least use the bathroom? I have dignity, not a death wish. "Left door," Dr. Vale said. "Avoid the mirror if you can." I frowned. "Why?" Her mouth softened. "Because you'll look and not recognize yourself yet, and that scares more than teeth." I went anyway, because avoiding mirrors never stopped a girl from checking if her mascara survived an attack. It didn't. R.I.P. winged eyeliner. On the way back, I caught voices from a side corridor. Female, sharp as glass. "You smelled it too?" a young woman whispered. "Nothing," another replied. "She smells like nothing." "Alpha says different." "Alpha would." I stepped into view. The two sentinels, one with a braid down her spine, the other with a scar like a comet across her cheek, stared at me with complicated eyes. Curiosity, suspicion, a touch of pity. Scent is status out here. I wore invisibility like a thrift store coat. "Hi," I said. "I'm the problem." "It's me," Scar Sentinel snorted. Braid Sentinel didn't. "We'll keep you alive," she said flatly. "Don't make it hard. Making things hard is my brand." "Cute." She looked me over. "I'm Mara." "That's Kira. Don't touch anything. Don't run. Don't talk to anyone who asks what you smell like." "That's everyone?" Her mouth twitched. "Yes." Back in the med bay, Darius had exchanged his ruined jacket for a dark hoodie and an expression that said no one had slept in a week. He handed me a coat. "It's cold." I slid into it and nearly groaned. It was warm. It was also his. The scent hit me like an elevator drop and I flushed down to my bones. He pretended not to notice, which was frankly rude. We moved. Hallways became elevators, became underground parking, engines, headlights, night pressing close like a held breath. I got in the SUV, Mara to my left, Kira up front, Logan driving. Darius took the passenger seat because of course he did. Kings don't chauffeur. As the garage door lifted, I caught my reflection in the window, pale, eyes too bright. A girl who couldn't howl, strapped into a car full of wolves, heading into a city with its teeth out. We were halfway to the ramp when my phone, somehow rescued from the wreckage of my salon, buzzed in my pocket. I glanced at Darius's profile. He didn't look back. I checked the screen. Landlord Morton. Oh, good. The man who once charged me $50 for excessive glitter in common areas? I answered, because trauma makes you brave or stupid. "Hey, Mr. Morton." "Lena," he barked. "Why is there police tape on my storefront?" "The building manager says you caused a disturbance. Tenants are complaining about howling. Mara bit her lip to keep from smiling." I cleared my throat. "Long story, short answer. Rogue wolf attack." He spluttered. "Is that code for a bar crawl?" "It's code for I'm alive," I snapped, rawer than I meant to be. "My shop is smashed. I have stitches I didn't ask for, and if one more man tells me I'm a disruption, I'm going to start charging by the minute for existing." Silence. Then a wary, "The rent is due." I growled. Accidentally. Into the phone. In a moving vehicle with 4 wolves. The SUV went quiet, then vibrated with muffled laughter. Darius's hand found the dashboard, white-knuckled. I ended the call before I said something that would get me evicted or sued. Nothing humbles a girl like accidentally growling at her landlord mid-crisis. "Boss," Logan said, amused. "Congratulations. She just howled at a human during a panic call." "That's a first." "I did not howl," I muttered, cheeks burning. "It was a throat disagreement." Darius finally looked back. For a heartbeat, his mouth almost smiled. Then war returned to his features like a mask. "Eyes up," he said to Logan. "We're not alone." Streetlights slid across his face as we emerged into the city night. Ahead, 2 dark sedans idled where sedans never idled without intent. Kira's hand drifted to the weapon at her hip. Mara's thigh pressed into mine, steady and ready. "Rogues?" I whispered. Logan's knuckles tightened on the wheel. "Not ours." Darius cracked the window, air knifed in, carrying a scent I didn't know but hated on contact. Sweet rot and metal. My stomach turned. "Hold," he said. Both sedans pulled out in perfect sync. They didn't come at us. They fell in behind. Darius didn't curse. He didn't need to. His voice went calm, quiet, lethal. "Logan, Route C, Kira, call it in. Mara, on her," Mara said, and her hand wrapped around my cuffed wrist like a promise. The sedan's lights flared. My heart kicked. The part of me that had slept for 24 years opened one gold eye and smiled with all its teeth. Chapter 3. If you've never been in a car chase with an alpha, a beta, and 2 combat-trained she-wolves, let me tell you. It's like riding shotgun through an anxiety attack with soundtrack included. Engines howled, tires screamed. My heart tried to reenact a rave in my chest. Darius's voice cut through the chaos, low and sharp. "Logan, lose them!" "I'm trying, boss," Logan muttered, swerving hard right. "But unless this SUV can sprout wings, we've got company." Mara shoved me lower in my seat as the back window cracked under a bullet. Not silver, thank goddess, but close enough to make my bones remember old pack nightmares. "Who shoots at wolves in the middle of downtown?" I gasped. "People who know what we are," Darius replied, unbuckling. "Stay down." I peeked anyway, because self-preservation and curiosity have never once agreed in my life. The sedan behind us flashed a blacked-out crest I didn't recognize, stylized claws around a moon. Not rogues, not council, something worse. "Who are they?" I asked. Logan took another turn so hard my head hit the window. "Mercenaries." "Smell like steel and magic." Great. So witches with ammo. Darius pulled a gun from under his seat, the kind of matte black weapon that screamed alpha problem-solving device. He handed it to Mara. "Shoot their tires." She grinned. "With pleasure." The SUV jolted again as she leaned out the window and fired 3 clean shots. The pursuing car fishtailed, clipped a streetlight, and spun into the second sedan like a metallic mating dance. Sparks, screams. Silence. We didn't stop. When the city lights finally thinned into the forest outskirts, Darius barked, "Route clear?" "Clear for now," Logan said. "No tail." "Good." Darius turned slightly, eyes catching mine. "You okay?" I blinked. "You just introduced me to urban warfare. I give it a 1-star review, would not recommend." A flicker, maybe amusement, maybe relief, crossed his face. "You're shaking." "I'm multitasking." "Your wolf is trying to surface." "She can send an email later. I'm busy surviving." Mara snorted. "She's got bite, Alpha." "Unfortunately," Darius muttered. The SUV slowed as we turned down a gravel road leading deep into the woods. A black iron gate appeared, flanked by stone pillars carved with runes that glowed faintly under the moon. The air thickened, humming with ward magic. Logan tapped a code into the console. The gates opened soundlessly. "This is the safe house?" I asked. "Safe enough," Darius said. "No human surveillance, no rogue scent trails." Translation, remote murder cabin. He almost smiled. "You'll sleep inside." "Oh, that's comforting. You?" "Outside, of course." The brooding alpha sleeps under moonlight, probably shirtless and emotionally unavailable. The SUV rolled to a stop. I climbed out, legs wobbling. The forest smelled alive. Moss, rain, earth. And beneath it, faintly, him. That scent of storm and blood. It clawed at my chest, desperate to be closer. My wolf, the one I barely knew, stirred again. A soft growl echoed in my head. curious, hungry. Darius caught the sound. "Don't fight it." "I'm not. She's just loud. She's waking." I wrapped my arms around myself. "I've waited 24 years for her to show up. She could have texted first." Mara laughed. "You'll get used to it." "Doubtful," I muttered. Logan hauled gear from the back. "Mara, perimeter sweep. Kira, check the wards. I'll set the comms." Darius motioned me toward the cabin. "Inside, Lena." I followed him into a living space that smelled like wood smoke and old secrets. He lit a lantern, golden light spilling over a rough-hewn table, weapons on the wall, maps with red pins scattered across them. "This your weekend getaway?" I asked. "Headquarters," he said simply. "Right." "The Airbnb of doom." He ignored me, moving to the counter where Dr. Vale's medkit waited. "Sit." I hesitated. "If this is where you lecture me about howling at authority figures—" I said sit. Something in his tone made my knees obey before my brain caught up. Alphas. Ugh. He cleaned a shallow cut on my shoulder I didn't realize I had. His fingers brushed my skin, and every nerve stood up like it was being saluted. "Does this happen every time you rescue a girl?" I asked, voice thinner than I liked. He looked up, silver eyes steady. "No, you're the first one who growled at me." "Lucky you." His hand stilled for half a second, then went back to work. "When you fought that rogue, did you feel her, your wolf, trying to take over?" "Yes, it was like drowning in adrenaline." He nodded. "That means she's strong." Suppressed wolves fade. Yours fought her way out. Great. My inner beast is a drama queen. Darius leaned back, studying me. "She's not the only one." I scowled. Was that an alpha joke? Observation. "You need better hobbies." He exhaled slowly. "You don't understand what this means. A wolf hidden this long. It's unnatural. Someone used you as an experiment, Lena. Maybe to breed scent immunity, maybe to make you a weapon." The words hit like cold water. "I do nails. Not wars." He set the gauze down. "Not anymore." "Excuse me? You're tied to this." The rogues, the mercenaries, the suppression, they all trace back to Silvervale. My birth pack? He nodded once. "Your parents may have known." I laughed, harsh, empty. My parents barely acknowledged me after I failed to shift. They wouldn't be part of... wouldn't they? Darius's tone softened, but it cut anyway. "The council doesn't waste suppressant tea on accidents." My stomach twisted. Memories bubbled. The bitterness of that tea. My mother's tight smile. My father's warnings about staying quiet. "They said it calmed my nerves," I whispered. "It calmed your power." Silence stretched. Then, softly, "What do I do now?" "Learn who you are." That sounds suspiciously like therapy. Or survival. Before I could respond, a shriek split the air, inhuman, distant but closing fast. Mara's voice crackled through the comms. "Alpha, south perimeter. 2 rogues, no 3. Darius was on his feet instantly, pulling his jacket on. "Stay here." "Sure, because I'm great at following orders." "Lena." His voice dropped, vibrating with command. "Lock the door. Don't come out." He vanished into the night before I could sass back. I stood there, heart in my throat, clutching a kitchen knife like that'd do anything against supernatural murder dogs. The forest roared with growls and crashes. The sound scraped something raw inside me. My wolf pressed harder. "Out!" "No," I hissed. "Not now." "We'll just be in the way he's ours," she growled. "He's bleeding." I froze. "How do you know that?" "Bond." I bolted to the window. Through the trees, flashes of silver, claws, fur, Darius moving like a weapon sculpted by the moon. One rogue lunged from behind, teeth snapping at his neck. My wolf howled inside me. Instinct overrode logic. The cuffs on my wrists, silver thread, flared with heat. The runes snapped. I kicked the door open. The night hit me like a drumbeat. My pulse synchronized to the pack's. To his. When the rogue turned toward me, I didn't think. I shifted. Not fully. Halfway. Bones cracked, vision blurred, claws tore through skin. Pain and power, love and fury, all blending into one impossible symphony. I slammed into the rogue, knocking it off Darius. My snarl didn't sound human. The creature hit the ground, yelped, and scrambled into the trees. I turned, panting, trembling. My hands clawed, my eyes gold, my alpha staring like he'd seen a ghost wearing his heartbeat. "Lena," he breathed. "Yeah," I rasped. "Surprise." He stepped closer, cautious. "You shouldn't be able to do that yet." "Guess I'm an overachiever." Blood streaked his neck. Without thinking, I reached for him. My claws grazed his skin. He didn't flinch. Instead, he caught my wrist and pressed my palm flat to his chest. "Listen," he said softly. I did. Beneath the steady thrum of his heartbeat, I heard mine. Perfectly in sync. The world tilted. The forest went silent. "That," he whispered, "is the bond. I didn't sign up for this subscription." He almost smiled, but his eyes burned. "You didn't have a choice." Neither did I. The night wind shifted, carrying the scent of ash. Logan's voice came over comms, strained. "Alpha, the rogues weren't random. They were scouts. Something bigger's coming." Darius's gaze locked on mine. "It's you they want, Lena." I swallowed hard. "Because I'm the girl who couldn't howl." He shook his head. "Because now, you finally did." "Hey, if you're still here, listening to me ramble about rogue wolves, broken bonds, and questionable life choices, thanks for sticking with me. I know it's messy, I'm messy, but if you've ever felt like the world decided you were too different to fit, then maybe you're part of my pack already. Hit that subscribe button so I don't have to face this moon madness alone, okay? Chapter 4. If you've ever felt your heart beating with someone else's rhythm, you know it's equal parts terrifying and addictive. That's what the bond felt like my veins had borrowed someone else's pulse. I sat on the cabin porch, wrapped in a blanket that smelled suspiciously like Darius. The world had quieted again. Too quiet. No more rogues, no more gunfire. Just the low hum of the forest and the memory of claws under my skin. Mara crouched by the steps, cleaning her blade with practiced ease. "Never seen a partial shift that clean," she said. "You sure you haven't done this before?" "Pretty sure I'd remember sprouting claws in a salon," she snorted. "You've got nerve." "I like that. I've got trauma." It's similar. Darius emerged from the tree line, shirt torn, blood on his jaw, eyes still burning that unnatural silver. The moonlight made him look carved from war stories. Logan followed behind him, already on comms, barking quiet orders. When Darius's gaze found me, something inside me, the wolf, stirred again. She purred, low and dangerous. "Ours." I pulled the blanket tighter. "Stop that," I muttered under my breath. Mara's eyebrow arched. "Talking to yourself already?" "To my intrusive roommate," I said. "She's new." Darius stopped a few feet away. "You disobeyed an alpha order." "I saved your life," I shot back. "You disobeyed." His voice had that growl under it, the one that made the air heavy and my temper lighter. "You're welcome." "Lena." Just my name, but it carried weight. I met his glare head on. "You can growl all you want. I'm not apologizing for not letting you get eaten." Logan muttered something that sounded like, "She's got you there," before wisely disappearing inside. For a second, Darius's jaw flexed. Then, unexpectedly, he sighed. "Next time, wait for backup." "That's your version of thank you?" "Work with me," he said dryly. "Fine." "You're welcome, alpha brood." His mouth twitched, a ghost of a smile that vanished before it fully existed. He leaned against the porch post, arms crossed. "You need to train that wolf before she tears you apart." "She's already halfway there," I said, rubbing my arms. "Every time I breathe too hard, she claws to the surface." "That's the bond accelerating it." "Bond," I repeated, the word sour in my mouth. "Right. The thing neither of us wanted, but now I'm apparently subscribed to. His gaze softened, just barely. It's not something we choose. Then what? It just happens? Like a weird, supernatural dating app? Closer than you think. Fantastic. My luck, the universe ships me with a brooding warlord who refuses to smile. He pushed off the post, moving closer. You could have been bound to worse. Don't flatter yourself. I wasn't, he said quietly. I was warning you. That landed colder than I expected. He looked out toward the woods, voice dropping. The rogues that attacked us tonight weren't hunting. They were scouting. Something's coordinating them. Packs are falling, and now you appear. Hidden bloodline, suppressed wolf, human scent. You're not a coincidence, Lena. You're a target because of you. Because of what you are. I swallowed. And what exactly is that? He hesitated. Dr. Vale's running tests, but the readings we saw, your scent reacts to alpha pheromones differently. Stronger. It's like your blood carries both dominance and suppression. That shouldn't be possible. So I'm broken. He shook his head. No, you're dangerous, comforting. Someone made you that way. Before I could respond, Dr. Vale appeared in the doorway, holding a data pad. The results are in. Darius straightened. And? Her face was grim. She's not just Silver Vale, Darius. She's half Nightborn. The words hit harder than a punch. I blinked. Nightborn? That's not real, that's a myth. The cursed pack that was wiped out, Darius finished. Or so we thought. Dr. Vale nodded. Their bloodlines were infused with witch-binding magic generations ago. It gave them heightened control, and made them scentless to everyone except their mate. Oh, hell. So you're saying, I said slowly, the reason I smell human is because my bloodline is literally invisible? Yes, Dr. Vale said. Your wolf was bound to suppress that lineage. The the inhibitors. They weren't to fix you. They were to hide you. I sat back, the world tilting. My parents knew. Darius's jaw tightened. They must have. My mother used to tell me bedtime stories about the Nightborn, I whispered. Said they were monsters. Dr. Vale's voice softened. They were protectors, until they were betrayed. By who? She glanced at Darius. The council. He didn't deny it. I laughed then, sharp and shaking. So let me get this straight. My family drugged me to hide my existence. The council killed my ancestors, and now everyone wants to kidnap me for my bloodline? Cute. Love this for me. Darius crouched beside me. Lena, you need to breathe, I am. Badly. Stop using my trauma as a catchphrase. He almost smiled. Almost. Then, more gently, you're not alone in this. You keep saying that, but we both know what you're really thinking. What's that? That I'm a liability. He didn't answer. Which was, of course, an answer. The wolf inside me stirred again, restless. He doesn't see you yet, she whispered. Make him. I ignored her. So, what now? You lock me up in another safe house? Stick me in some lab? No, he said, standing. You train. With me, I blinked. Train? You think I can just, learn to howl on command? You'll learn to control her, he said simply, or she'll control you. Dr. Vale crossed her arms. The bond will speed her development, but it also means proximity is volatile. Define volatile, I said. She looked between us. Physical contact could trigger surges. Emotional triggers, too, I looked at Darius. So basically, I have to live with you and not touch you? Yes. Should be easy, I lied. Good, he said. Training starts at dawn. Do I get breakfast first? Coffee, Logan called from inside. If you survive the run. Run? Mara grinned. Welcome to the pack, scentless girl. The rest of the night blurred in exhaustion. The others dispersed. I lay awake in the small cabin bedroom, listening to wolves move through the forest. Every creak of wood sounded like fate stretching its claws. Sleep dragged me under eventually. When I dreamed, I wasn't human. I ran under a blood-red moon. Darius's voice followed, not as a command but as a promise. "You're not broken, Lena. You're the beginning of something the world forgot to fear." I woke with a gasp, drenched in sweat, the echo of a howl still vibrating in my chest. My wolf was no longer silent. She was awake, and she was hungry. Chapter 5. By dawn, I already hated mornings. The forest was still soaked in mist, the air sharp enough to bite, and my so-called training outfit was a pair of borrowed joggers that smelled suspiciously like alpha. Because of course Darius's wardrobe screamed, "brooding lumberjack chic." He stood at the edge of the clearing, hands behind his back, eyes on me like I was both an experiment and a landmine. The sunrise caught in his hair, painting silver over dark. His wolf lingered just beneath his skin. You could feel it, humming under the surface like static. "Ready?" he asked. "No," I said, "but I'm here, which is the closest thing you'll get." Logan smirked from the sidelines. Points for honesty. Darius ignored him. "You're going to run. Shift if you can. When your wolf pushes through, don't fight her." "Not fighting sounds like great advice until she eats someone." He tilted his head. "She won't hurt anyone." "She'll hurt you if you keep resisting wonderful pep talk." 10 out of 10. He started walking toward me, slow, deliberate. The bond amplifies instinct. The more you deny what you are, the more it hurts. "Pain builds character," I said, trying for humor. "Mine's practically a mansion." "Lena." Just my name, but that command again, dark and electric. "Trust me." I wanted to roll my eyes. I wanted to sass back. But something in his tone, like gravel and promise, unraveled the resistance right out of me. "Fine," I muttered. "But if I start howling mid-run, I'm suing you for emotional damages." "Deal." He nodded toward the tree line. "Run until you can't." So I did. At first it was just air in my lungs, mud under my shoes, branches clawing at my sleeves. The world thinned into rhythm, breathe, step, heartbeat. Then it happened. The shift didn't ask permission this time. It tore through me like a storm through glass. Bones bent, not breaking but becoming. Fur flickered along my arms, vanishing again before it could claim me. My vision sharpened. I could see every drop of dew trembling on the grass. And then Darius's scent. Pine, smoke, iron. My wolf surged toward it, a tether pulling me back to him even as I ran from everything else. When I stumbled to a stop, gasping, he was there, not behind me, beside me, like he'd always been. "Good," he said, voice low. "You're listening." "I'm panting," I managed. "There's a difference." "You shifted halfway." "Halfway's my brand. You should see my taxes." He almost smiled again. Almost. Then his hand caught my jaw, gentle but firm. "Breathe. Feel her, I do. She's loud. Let her speak." I closed my eyes. Inside, the wolf prowled just beneath my skin. She didn't growl this time. She purred. "He's ours," she whispered. "He's impossible," I argued. "He's the reason you woke up." I snapped my eyes open. "She's chatty." "What did she say?" Darius asked. "Nothing useful." He studied me, head tilted. "You're afraid of her." "I'm afraid of what she'll make me do." "Like what?" "Like this," I blurted, before I even knew what this was. Then I kissed him, or maybe he kissed me. It didn't matter. The world narrowed to heat and heartbeat and the taste of something wild. For one dizzy second, the bond flared bright enough to burn. The forest went silent. The wolf inside me sang, then he pulled back. Too fast, too clean. "Don't," he said roughly. "We can't." I laughed, breathless. "You say that like it helps." "Lena." "Don't Lena me," Alpha brewed. "You can't drag me into your world, tell me we're bonded, and then act like kissing me is some international crime." His jaw clenched. "It's not about want. It's about control. Oh, so this is the part where you martyr yourself for the greater pack good?" "This is the part where I keep you alive." "Right. Because touching me kills people now." Because touching you makes it harder to think. That stopped me cold. Then don't think, I whispered. For a heartbeat, he almost broke. You could see it, the war behind his eyes. The wolf wanted. The man refused. Finally, he stepped back. Training's over. Yeah, I said, voice shaking. Clearly. He turned away, hands fisted at his sides. Get some rest. Dr. Vale will brief you after lunch. Sure thing, boss, I muttered. Maybe I'll start a journal. Dear Diary, today I almost kissed my alpha again and didn't even get a medal. He froze mid-step, then kept walking. I swear the corner of his mouth twitched, but maybe that was wishful thinking. Later, the cabin hummed with tension. Logan and Mara were reviewing satellite images while Dr. Vale scanned through files. I stood in the doorway, still flushed from the run, trying to pretend my heart wasn't writing sonnets about someone I barely trusted. Dr. Vale looked up first. How's the wolf? Judgy, hungry, possibly flirtatious. Mara snorted. Sounds like you. Ha ha. Vale gestured to the table. We found something in the old council archives. Records of your family, or what's left of them. My stomach turned. Show me. She slid a tablet across. The image on screen showed a formal pack registry. Silvervale Bloodline 1073, Nightborn Containment Order. Below it, in cold council language, subject L. Cross, female, age 2 years. Containment status, active. Potential threat, class Omega variant. My vision blurred. They registered me as a threat when I was a toddler. Vale nodded grimly. Your parents weren't protecting you. They were following orders. Orders to suppress me? To silence you. I felt sick. They drugged me to keep me quiet. Logan exhaled. The council knew if Nightborn blood resurfaced, it could unbalance the entire hierarchy. Their power came from scent. Their politics, their bonds. You can hide from all of it. So, I'm an existential crisis with a manicure license. Basically. Perfect. I sank into a chair, staring at the glowing file. My whole life I thought I was broken. Turns out, I was buried. Darius's voice came from behind me. Not buried. Hidden, I turned. He stood in the doorway, unreadable. You knew, I said. I suspected. And you didn't tell me? His silence was answer enough. Of course not, I said bitterly. Why tell the defective girl she's actually a ticking time bomb? He moved closer, slow and careful. Because you needed time to wake on your own. I needed the truth. I'm giving it to you now. Too late. My wolf stirred, angry this time. He lies. Lena, he said softly. Look at me. I did, against my better judgment. His eyes glowed faintly, that molten silver shade that saw too much. I'm trying to protect you. From what? From everyone who wants to use you, including me. That hurt more than I wanted to admit. So what? I'm supposed to hide while you fight your invisible war. No, you're supposed to survive it, not my style. Then you'll die. Maybe that's worth it. Don't say that, he snapped, voice cracking with something raw. You have no idea what it's like to watch your mate bleed out because she thought bravery was worth dying for. The room went still. Even my wolf paused. My voice dropped. You've had a mate before. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. Dr. Vale looked away. Mara cursed softly under her breath. That was the missing piece, the weight behind his restraint. Her name was Era, he said finally. She was taken during the first rogue uprising. I buried her myself. I swallowed the lump in my throat. And now I'm what? Her replacement? He shook his head. No, you're the reminder silence, heavy and sharp. Then the comm crackled. Logan's voice, tight with alarm. Alpha. We've got movement, multiple heat signatures coming straight for us. Mara grabbed her weapon. Rogues again? Worse, Logan said. Council patrols. They found us. Darius turned to me, every ounce of gentleness gone. Get your things. We move now. Where? I asked. Anywhere they can't smell you. Which is everywhere, Mara said grimly, but that won't stop them from burning the forest down to find her. The wolf inside me rumbled low, dangerous. Let them come. For once I agreed with her. Darius, I said, standing. I'm done hiding. His eyes flicked to mine, a storm brewing in their depths. You're not ready. Maybe not. But I'm awake. The growl that rose from my chest wasn't human, and this time I didn't apologize for it. Chapter 6. If you've ever been hunted by your own kind, you know the sound. It's not footsteps, it's thunder in the bones. By the time we reached the tree line, the scent of the council enforcers hit like static. Cold steel, arrogance, and the faint sting of silver powder. Darius shoved a duffel into Logan's hands. Evac Route 3. Kira, take the flank. Mara, I know, she said, already drawing her blade. Hold them off long enough for the lovebirds to run. I am not a lovebird, I said, gripping the strap of my borrowed jacket tighter. Mara smirked. Then stop looking at him like you want to eat him or save him. Pick one. Before I could retort, gunfire split the morning air. The trees erupted into chaos. Shouts, snarls, the metallic whine of silver-tipped bullets. Darius grabbed my arm, pulling me toward the deeper forest. Move! I can fight, I protested, though my heart was trying to climb out of my throat. Not yet, he snapped. You shift, they'll track the energy signature. We need distance first. Branches whipped past, my lungs burned. The wolf inside me was pacing, restless, angry. They'll kill him, she whispered. Let me out. Not now, I hissed under my breath. Darius threw a look over his shoulder. You say something? Nothing helpful. We broke through a clearing, a small ridge overlooking the valley below. Smoke already licked the horizon where the cabin once stood. My stomach dropped. They burned it. They'll burn everything to erase you, Darius said grimly. The council doesn't leave loose ends. So that's what I am to them. A loose end? To them, yes. He turned, eyes glowing faintly. To me, you're the reason they'll regret it. The way he said it, like a vow, not a confession, made my wolf practically purr. Then something whistled through the air. Darius shoved me down an instant before a silver dart embedded itself in the tree behind us. He cursed. Sniper. Let me guess, silver-tipped and laced with wolfsbane? Stay down. I glanced up. Oh, sure, because that always works in movies. Lena. Fine, I'll... The next shot came faster. He didn't dodge this one. The dart hit his shoulder, sinking deep. He grunted, stumbled, and fell to one knee. Darius! I lunged forward, catching him as he swayed. His skin already burned under my hands, veins darkening where the poison spread. He tried to shove me away. Run! Not a chance. Lena, it's wolfsbane. It'll spread. If I stay, maybe it spreads to me too. Then we can both be bad decisions together. He tried to glare, but his breath hitched. You're infuriating. So I've been told. He sagged against me, heavier now, the alpha aura flickering like a dying flame. The bond pulsed painfully between us, and my wolf snapped awake like she'd been waiting for this exact excuse. Heal him. I don't know how, I whispered. Then stopped thinking. His blood stained my hands. My vision blurred. The world tilted, and my wolf rose. The change tore through me fully this time. No half-shift, no flicker, just power, fur, bone, flame. Pain and euphoria tangled until I couldn't tell one from the other. My body stretched, broke, rebuilt. The ground met paws instead of feet. The world smelled alive, blood, ash, pine, him. Darius lay in the dirt, eyes half closed. My wolf prowled toward him, tail low, ears forward. She nudged his face, whining softly. He blinked. Beautiful, he murmured, voice barely a whisper. I lowered my head until our foreheads touched. The bond flared, hot and golden, threading through the poison in his veins. Something ancient moved through me. Magic I didn't know I had. Light spilled from where we touched, shimmering across his skin. The burn marks faded. The dart clattered free. He gasped, sitting up suddenly. "Lena?" I blinked at him, once, twice, and realized what I'd done. He reached out, fingers trembling. "You just burned wolfsbane out of me." I shifted back without meaning to, collapsing into his lap, shaking and naked and furious at physics. "Next time," I panted, "I want a manual." He laughed then, a real unguarded sound that hit somewhere between relief and wonder. "You're impossible." "You're welcome." But the victory lasted exactly 3 seconds before Logan's voice crackled through the calm. "Alpha, Council Scouts inbound. You've got maybe 5 minutes before they reach you." Darius helped me to my feet, shrugging off his jacket and draping it over my shoulders. His expression was already steel again. "Can you run?" I smirked. "I just healed you from a supernatural poison." "Running's the least dramatic thing I'll do today." He smiled. "A small, dangerous thing." "That's my girl." The words hit like lightning. My wolf howled approval inside me, echoing through the trees. "Don't call me that," I said, but I didn't mean it. We started moving again, deeper into the forest. The air was thick with power, old, sleeping magic that hummed beneath the soil. I could feel it answering my steps. "What is this place?" I asked. "The Nightborn ruins," Darius said quietly. "Your ancestors built their first den here before the council wiped them out. So you brought me to ground zero? Where better to wake what they tried to erase?" The words settled deep, heavy, and right. The clearing opened before us. Ancient stones in a rough circle, carved with runes that pulsed faintly in my presence. Darius stepped into the center, his hand outstretched. "Lena! If they find us, they'll take you alive and kill everyone else. This is where we make our stand together?" He nodded. "Together?" I stepped closer, heart pounding. "You sure about that?" "You said we can't claim during wartime?" He met my gaze, silver burning into gold. "Then consider this piece." The ground trembled. Light rippled across the runes. The air filled with a deep rising hum, the sound of something ancient remembering its name. Behind us, the council enforcers burst from the trees, weapons raised. "Darius Hale, step away from the girl." He turned toward them, eyes blazing. "She's not a girl." I felt the bond ignite fully, no longer a thread, but a firestorm. Power roared through my veins, and when I opened my mouth, my wolf's howl ripped free, raw and perfect and mine. The world shattered. The trees bent away. The moon, blood red now, seemed to pulse in answer. The ground cracked, spilling light instead of stone. The enforcers screamed. The forest itself rose against them, vines, roots, shadow. When the light finally dimmed, silence fell. The council was gone. The clearing was scorched. And Darius was staring at me like he'd just seen the end of an era. "What was that?" I asked, voice hoarse. He stepped closer, reverent. "That," he said, "was your howl." I laughed once, breathless. "Bit dramatic, don't you think?" He smiled faintly. "Fate usually is." The moon dipped low, painting everything in silver and blood. I looked at the ashes, the ruin, and him, and finally understood why they'd feared me. I wasn't the girl who couldn't howl. I was the girl who could bring the moon to its knees. Epilogue. If you've ever woken up after nearly starting an apocalypse, you know it's not as glamorous as it sounds. My muscles ached in places I didn't know existed. My throat was raw from howling, like I'd swallowed lightning and dared it to stay. The cabin, the clearing, the smoke. It all blurred into fragments of memory. When I opened my eyes, I was back in a room I didn't recognize. Stone walls, dim candlelight, soft sheets that definitely didn't belong to a fugitive. "Welcome back to the land of the conscious," a dry voice said. Dr. Vale sat in a chair beside my bed, flipping through her ever-present datapad. "How long was I out?" I croaked. 2 days. maybe 3. Hard to tell when the moon itself decides to black out half the sky. I blinked. I did that, she smirked. Technically, you and a bloodline no one thought still existed. The Nightborn legacy reawakened. You destabilized half the council's satellite wards. Congratulations. You're trending in the Undernet forums. Yay, I muttered. Can I get coffee with my infamy? She handed me a mug, already made. Alpha's orders. That's when I realized I could feel him, even before he entered. The bond hummed, faint but constant, like background music under my heartbeat. The door opened. Darius stepped in, bruised but breathing, a shadow of exhaustion under his silver gaze. You scared me, he said simply. Me? You're the one who got shot. I've been shot before. I haven't watched someone call down the moon and rewrite the forest. Sounds dramatic when you say it like that. He smiled faintly. Because it was. Dr. Vale stood. I'll leave you two to brood romantically or discuss destiny, whichever comes first. Both, I said. She snorted and left. Darius sat on the edge of the bed, his eyes searching mine. They'll come for you again. The council won't stop. I figured, I said softly. I made their moon bleed. Probably bad for politics. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a folded, half-burned letter. We found this in the wreckage. It was addressed to your parents. I hesitated before taking it. The paper smelled of ash and old secrets. To the Council of Scent and Blood, the Nightborn line is suppressed, as commanded. The child does not shift. Her scent is gone. We trust this will keep her hidden until the balance is restored. Alpha Cyrus Hale. I stared at the name, my breath catching. Cyrus Hale? Darius nodded slowly. My father! Silence hit like a blade between us. So the council didn't just order my suppression, I said, voice trembling. Your father carried it out. He didn't deny it. He was loyal to them. Once, until he buried my kind alive. Darius's voice roughened. Until he buried both of ours. The Hales lost half their pack the day the Nightborn fell. My father believed he was saving the species. He didn't see what they were really doing. And you? I see it now. I wanted to be angry, to scream, but all I felt was the tired ache of truth settling into place. You know what this means, I whispered. We were enemies before we ever met. He reached out, brushing his thumb against my cheek. Maybe fate thought we'd do better this time. The bond pulsed again, gentle, steady, not burning this time. Just real. I'm not your redemption arc, I said quietly. No, he said. You're my reckoning. And he kissed me, slow, deliberate, not desperate this time. A claiming of equals. When he pulled back, the wolf in me sighed. The woman in me burned. I don't know where this goes, I admitted. He smiled, small and fierce. Forward. Before I could answer, the door burst open. Logan skidded in, eyes wide. We've got incoming. The council just broadcast a new decree. They're calling her, he glanced at me, the Queen of the Nightborn. I blinked. Queen? Darius looked at me, pride and trouble woven together. They'll regret saying that out loud. He stood, already shifting back into commander mode. We move tonight. South Safe House. Vale's prepping transport. I swung my legs off the bed, ignoring the weakness in them. You're not going without me. I wasn't planning to, he said. You're not a prisoner anymore, Lena. You're the key, I laughed, shaky but real. Great. Keys get used, stolen, or lost. Pick one. He grinned, the rare kind that showed teeth. Not this one. The night outside was still red at the edges, the moon half-shadowed from what I'd done. I looked up through the cracked window and felt her gaze looking back. The wolf inside me stretched, content, not broken, not buried, not silent, just waiting. For war. If you made it this far, Thank you for listening to my story, for seeing the girl who couldn't howl, and realizing maybe she was just waiting for the right night to start. Every view, every comment, every person who shows up here, you make it worth it. So from one stubborn wolf to another, thank you for running with me tonight. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe and stay close. The next moon's rising, and trust me, you'll want to hear what happens when fate finally bites back.